Hi, my name's Tabitha, and I have been watching and participating with Scared and Alone for the past 2 seasons now. And I'm here to talk with Haley about one of the episodes that we just watched.
I'm Haley. I've been watching Scared and Alone since last season, so I've been here for 2 seasons. Fun show. I get to stretch my legs in it, and I know a lot of everybody just sees my name, so this is me. And Tabitha and I, we have a good spiritual connection between us. We've never met except for tonight, and we do have some good energy, and we seem to be on the same page whenever we do these investigations with poor Courtney. She's left inside alone. So you want to talk about this recent one we just watched? That was the Alley Theater. What did you think of that?
Yes, going into it, I try to sit with the location. What I like to do is basically do a remote view from where I am. So about 15 minutes before we started, I just connected to the theater. And just from that, right away, there was an importance with 1910. I felt that it was some sort of speakeasy before it was a theater. Now, when I say speakeasy, my spirit team will tell me things in a way that I can understand it from my perspective. So, speakeasy can be any number of things like a bar or a meeting place or something like that. But they speak to me in a way that I can understand and then try to convey that to whoever I'm giving the messages to. The other thing was that I did feel that it was a home long ago, before all of this. That was the oldest thing that I could go back to. And there was the few things that jumped out at me right away. It's different when the video and the energy of the show starts, and I can connect in on a different way through all the people that are there, and through actually all the people who are like you, Haley, in the comments sections. What did you do coming into this?
When I first saw where we were going, poor Courtney, the Alley Theater, this whole entire day before we even did the stream, I had visions of, of what was there before and what is residing there. And I usually send Rob all these things that I see before the show because I don't know anything about the location other than he just sends me the name. And then, of course, I have the picture that he sent me of just the signage on the outside of the building. But when I focus in, I just got all these kinds of images. There was, in the beginning, it was a dark mass, and it was darker than dark, not a human spirit-based kind of thing. And when we went into the actual location, when she went in, I was able to identify a little bit of it in the beginning. The stage area, I didn't pick up anything it was behind the scenes. And this thing I have seen this thing before, except I want to say Patty Negri has talked about this before. An egrigore is somebody has been telling this story over and over. And I think somebody has invited me. And whether it's somebody that is being oppressed or sadness, or somebody has done a ritual to bring something in from the past. You and I have touched on this. So I think this thing that I saw is an ooey gooey, and you hit it because you said it was like an octopus. And then when she got hit upstairs and she was hit with that one of those, she saw the head. Oh, I just saw somebody's head, and this tentacle just came out and smacked her. Yeah. And it was touching her lower back and all this gooey stuff that I've only seen this one other time, and that's with Robert the Doll. He has 2 of them, and they're pretty nasty. But they were invited in. But the others in there would tell you, snore, and it projected itself as something else.
It did. And what's interesting is at first, I didn't feel that yet until she got into the darker room. There was a flag in the back corner.
That was
that actually moved a couple times. And sometimes I'm really into myself, and I'm really connected with the spirit world. And so we're getting into our own groove that I'm not necessarily paying attention to what's going on to the screen, but I stopped a moment and I looked really deep. And that's when I start seeing the mass. It started up in that corner where that flag was, and it down and filled up the space and rolled across my screen and curled up. And I was trying to feel into it, and it's almost like it didn't want me to feel it, but it was too bad because I could see it. And the only thing that I could convey to you was, the only thing that I could get out was Ursula. And because I could even see there was this rolling fog of black that would curl up just like tentacles. And when you said tentacles, like, yes, because we're not telling each other these things. We're simultaneously picking up on things from different locations. So it's amazing that when 2 people pick up on this same thing,
the same exact thing,
there's got to be something to it. And it definitely masks itself, because I actually took a pause and stepped away. And the whole time when I stepped away, I heard really loudly, I was projecting to me really loudly, "Don't stand so close to me." And it kept repeating those words over and over. So I was unable to think or even hear anything else until I came back and got back in with you.
I filled my head with a pounding headache. That's why I had to disconnect completely, go drink some water and take a break, because this thing didn't want me to see it, but I saw things that he was projecting to people that see inside the building, what they think that they see. But it's this thing that's projecting it to. There are other spirits in there, and they're not as strong as this one in particular. But this one, I think, has just been created, and I think that it's not harmful, but it's uncomfortable, because I'm sure Courtney was uncomfortable standing at her back and touching her, and then I don't think that we need maybe do a wellness check on people to see if somebody is in a bit of a depressive state, because I think it's drawing in something.
When we were talking earlier, when we first set into this, I did feel that it had something to do with male who walks in there quite often. It happened. I talked a little bit about it happened probably in the last 10 to 20 years that energy has been brought into. And I definitely feel the same thing. It wasn't there
It could be
before that.
we just had a pandemic, so a lot of people were inactive. So it created a lot of mental trauma to people being locked away. And yeah, I agree. I think it's within the last 10 years or so because it seems more recent. That's why I said in the middle of this, out of nowhere in the chat, I said rainbows and what did I say? Rainbows and cupcakes, I think. Rainbows and cupcakes. I think that was my vision. So rainbows is significant to me with this. So I think that, yeah, it just we really need to check on people because somebody might be having a really hard time or they did have a hard time and they're not here. This is a school? Is that what this is? Is a school? I did say student earlier, didn't I? I think I did. It's a school? Is that what it is? Is that what Rob said? It was a performing arts school?
I believe so. I think so.
Yeah. I don't know.
After school program?
Is it?
After school.
It's an after school program. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning like a student. It's not an adult. It's a student. And I don't know what it was before.
It's been a bunch of stuff. I think they were saying that's the beauty of this as well. Having you and your perspective and me and my perspective, generally we pick up on different things, different aspects of the same coming from our own perspectives, but we have synced up a lot in a lot of the episodes, but this one it was like, wow. It was definitely a cloaking type and energy for sure because it did not want me to see it, but I did.
Oh yeah. I saw, like, when we first got there, I said, I feel a little boy, which you drew a picture of the little boy, and that's brown hair, too short pants. His pants were too short. He had an ivory shirt on. Like, you nailed that in your picture that you drew because I was like, that's him. But there was another child that this thing was projecting to try to deviate our thoughts to what we were actually seeing. Yeah. It wasn't a human-based child. This was this thing trying to sidetrack us. It didn't work because, it doesn't ever work. Yeah. So it worked.
I believe we were talking about Andrew being a spirit that normally appears there. And the other thing that I picked up on that could have been this energy, I picked up on the boy that plays with him, and I picked up on the name Casey. But this, just to show what I drew here.
Yep.
There he is there.
Yep.
So
that's him. And she had the little light up balls that he probably thought they were marbles because marbles was a big thing.
Yeah. So when I looked at it, I said, oh my gosh, there, he's perched right there.
Yeah.
And then there again, you start pretty much describing the same thing.
Yeah, the connection, I think it's every time we come on the show together, you and I seem to connect in some way. I know that there was a couple of shows ago where you picked up on a sea captain and it ended up being the following week's show that there he was. Yeah, it's like you picked it up on it in advance. So I was like,
yeah, the funny thing about that too is with us doing that, even though we are remote viewing or connecting into our energy, some of those energies will come in and connect to us as well, sit with us and end up back in another location.
It's like a movie preview for the next week. Look what you're gonna get.
We do. Let me tell you, my mentor has definitely told me that the spirit world knows. They know in advance that you are going to be giving messages. So behind the scenes, they're already working out how that they're going to come in and be able to present themselves and get their messages across too. So
Right.
the whole world is just absolutely fascinating to me, and
I think it
how
is.
connected that we are is simple. Is it's amazing. It's so beautiful. So
Yeah. Hey.
Hi, guys.
The Dare Queen. I like it.
I've been
I like it.
listening. I've been listening in this whole time. I don't know if you knew I was there or not, but
no,
I am
me.
here now.
that's so awesome. How
As long as you don't have any hams.
I eat ham on the regular, but I will never carry around ham in
No.
the same fashion as I did. I wanted to say, number one, I appreciate you guys so much for being such loyal fans of the show. It means a lot to me to have you guys there every week. And to listen to you guys talk about how you connect to things is fascinating, and you guys are awesome. And I am excited that we got to do this and talk about it.
Yes, thank you, Courtney, so much. And what is fascinating to me too is, what was it? Not this past week, but the week before, is you started talking about a energy that was in a certain area that you were, and all of a sudden I was, just because you connecting in, all of a sudden I connected in with you, and I was there picking up on that same person with you. So that's the cool thing too, is that we can come in and see and bring you validation of what you're seeing
What you're experiencing.
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of my favorite things that has come from this show. Like, I have years and years and years and years of experience in the paranormal field, in working with energy and fine tuning my skills and my craft and my abilities and everything else. But in doing this show, it's different because I'm on a public platform. So it was hard for me to come to terms with saying it out loud. And so I've learned through you guys validating me, through the panel validating me, that it's okay and that I'm safe, and I can be wrong, or I can be whatever, and I can say it out loud. And not this week, the Alley Theater, but the week before was one of the first times that I was just hit with stuff. And I just was like, you know what? I got to say it. And then you and I, Tabitha, connected, I think, on a few of those, which was really cool and very validating, which is always nice.
Yeah, and we were going through some of the live video, and I don't know if Rob has talked to you yet. We were able to actually hone in on that footstep that you caught, and
Yeah.
it was not the first time that you heard it, but I believe it was like the second time that you said something about hearing it, or excuse me, the third.
It was right after she saw the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. You saw the head. It was deep in there, but we were just, my partner Thomas, he is a sound engineer, excuse me. And so we were just drawn to that area. So we just went in there. So I just wanted you to know, to validate, you saying, oh, did you hear that? Yeah. It's there. It's there. So, yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. When I was sitting on the stage and I had my camera facing away from me and I screamed because there was that wicked loud noise. Did you guys hear that at all? Did you think I could pick up anything off that? Because that wasn't the one that made me scream. Was not a footstep. It was like something being moved or knocked over or something. It was so loud.
We didn't get very far in the video. Yeah, I'm sure when you're analyzing that, we analyzed that one spot and listened to it over and over. I think we spent almost 2 hours in just that spot.
Yeah.
And the whole show was 2 hours. I don't think we quite gotten that far to that point. And
I know
so,
you
yeah.
said that it was a speakeasy long ago. Do you remember when we kept hearing the snaps? We would hear snaps, but we thought it was tapped. I'm wondering, since may have been a speakeasy, and because there was a lot of drinking going on there, which you can feel those vibes. I'm wondering if it was at one time a poet bar. Yeah, look at a pool hall. Yeah, that could be the snaps that we were hearing instead of snaps. They were, what do you call this? Pool sticks, the pool cues. Pool sticks.
Pool cues.
Like balls hitting each other. That's residual stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let me ask you guys something else, because I experienced something at this place that I've never experienced before, because I don't love when they touch me. Because usually it's inappropriate. When I was down in the basement and I felt like literally someone was like pressing up against my back, like my back was in their chest. It was so comforting and warm.
Yeah.
And like when I went back upstairs, I was like, I hate it up here and I want to go back downstairs and be hugged again. It was so weird to experience that in a way that was like not the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
What I saw. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I had an extremely bad headache from this thing that I saw in there. So if that happened while I stepped away, no, I don't. I do remember hearing you, but I was zoomed in on this thing so much that I can't see anything else because he was that strong. But I don't think he hurts anyone. I did say in there it's like the Robert the Doll, but the thing with Robert the Doll, he has two of them things, and I don't think this was brought in by somebody that is malicious. I think it's brought in because somebody's in a very dark place, and then that's how it's created. It's manifested itself from all this dark depression. That's what I saw with you. And it's not that I'm saying it's you. I'm saying that somebody in that building that has flowed through there has had something very dark with them.
It could be me, honestly, but it was, so I felt, the only time I felt anything dark, and I don't know if it's just that my protections are in place other than Velisca, which was like a spiritual assault, but other than that, my protections are in place to not deal with anything like that. The only time I felt anything even remotely off was down in the basement when I said, I feel like I'm tiptoeing, like I don't want to disturb something. Mm-hmm. But when I reflected on that later, it felt a lot like I was underground. I was in the basement underground. So I'm in the earth. And I was literally seconds away from Middleborough Town Hall. Yeah. Which, if you guys remember, in that basement, there was that like elemental whatever that smelled terrible, and I smelled like death and rotting and whatever. And then I was trapped in the basement.
That's what we picked up on, Tabitha.
It was literally
like your feet would have been glued to the floor.
So where Middleborough Town Hall is, I drove like this and I was at the Alley Theater. It's like literally 2 streets away. I drove past Middleborough Town Hall to get there. So they're like super close. And if you think of all that stuff that's happened like on the land and all that, and they had a flooding too. So the water was coming in. So there was like on the other side of the basement room where I was, there was water that had come in. So to me, it felt like almost elemental in a sense. I wasn't going to touch it. I wasn't going near it. No thanks, I'm all set. But it was elemental in nature to me and just part of the land. Yeah, because
interesting about the HVAC person has had this happen in the exact same spot. That is really interesting. That's really interesting. You just walked into a repeatability. That's fantastic, Court.
And Nikos, the bartender, also had that happen to him in the exact same spot.
Wow. That's
my
great.
Just went again.
I saw shape when you froze up, but
I feel like a hand on my shoulder.
Yes.
Which shoulder? Closest to the camera, farther away?
The one next to where the K2 meter is. Like that felt comforting. Like I could lean back into it. Yeah. I don't know if I'm just touch starved. I don't know, but that was.
I once had someone tell me that they're not supposed to touch you unless they have your permission, but let's face it, they're in a place where they can do what they want and get away with what they want when they want. But for me, when you went down there, I just felt there was, and I did see a lot of shadows in that darker area where you were down there. They were racing back and forth. There was a lot of fast, quick energy down there. Just, I kept seeing them go side to side and filling up the area with that energy down there. The other thing that I personally felt was you were talking about, you feel like you're walking on the eggshells down there. I had a vision of possibly someone being under the building, because for me, what they were showing me was that they were looking up under the building and they were like knocking on the building. So it's interesting you say that other place right down the road. And I'm not saying that this is or it isn't. It's interesting that could it possibly be something coming in from somewhere else? And these energies are trying to get themselves into this building and they're frustrated about it because they really are beating on the bottom of the building, trying to get into it themselves. And, or like I said, I felt like someone was buried there, but we're not always 100%. It very well could be just from other ends time into theirs.
It's already in that area that it's that constant swirl that you're in the same Bridgewater area, right? Yeah, it's a constant energy swirl. So you're going to get all kinds of things through there.
I think it's worth it to note too, like when I go in, before I start, I sit quietly with myself for a few minutes. Usually after I've been given the tour, I've been left alone, I'm waiting to get on. I sit, I do my things, whatever. And then as soon as we come on and I start, it's like a light switch goes off and I'm on. It's like everything in the building or around me is like, oh, I'm going to come in and let me look at you and see what you're going to do. And now I'm going to leave. And then, oh, I'm going to come from over here and I'm going to look at you and I'm going to see what it is. And I'm going to leave. So it's like this onslaught of energy right away. But what's funny is we're all very familiar because we all connected to Middleborough Town Hall too. So I'm wondering, I literally drove by and I was like, hey there, hey, hi. And then went over, did I bring them? I thought of it. They were like, oh, hey, I know you. I can track
the parties across the street today. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And because they're familiar energies to all of us. We've already been there.
Yes. They know you right away. You've got what they call...
You're the beacon.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should call me Ghost Magnet.
Should you imagine if all three of us showed up? They would be like, hello. Yeah.
We would just be sitting there like in a trance, like staring at each other. Oh, this is
get in line. Get in line.
A lot is happening.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that I'm not a fan of Ouija boards. Okay, because I had a really bad experience with a Ouija board, and David Sloan knows all about it. It's the situation of your ham. It wouldn't go away. And when you open that and you don't shut it, I feel like this. At first, I was like, oh, somebody's done something and didn't close the door. And my dad's a firm believer in close the door. You don't live in a bar. Close it. So I always close things like that. And I go from using items like tiles from like Scrabble games and to make up words and stuff for them. I did that in the fort with Robert the Doll Works. But I never got into that. And when we first got there, it was hit with me a Ouija board. And I don't like Ouija boards. Yeah.
So it was a literal
Oh,
barn. Rob said
it was a
they
literal
they
barn.
didn't shut the barn door.
Shut the barn. You don't live in a barn. That's what I felt in the beginning, but then it got to where I was like, no, this is something else. This is somebody has brought something in with them, or they have invited something in, and I don't think they meant to.
Right.
I don't think they meant to. It wasn't
Either.
intentional. So
Yeah.
wellness check would be good. Check on your peoples. I don't think it came with you, Courtney. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm shocked. If I was going to bring anything with me from anywhere, it would have been Velisca. But if that thing got fed enough where it was that it didn't need to come with me.
After Velisca, now we have to, Tabitha and I, we have to watch you because we know when you change.
Yeah.
We know when you change and you are not Courtney anymore. You are definitely not Courtney that night.
See, that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say that's the thing is at the Alley Theater, I didn't feel anything close to that. And we know we know it's happened because I felt in danger for a brief second at Emory Estate when I was up on the 3rd floor and I was hearing all those sounds and everything else. And I thought I was going to tap out because I couldn't do it. And then again, obviously at Velisca, I felt like I was going to lose myself, which I didn't realize until after. But like nothing, like at no point in the Alley Theater, like I don't know if it just didn't care about me or whatever, like I put up a shield, but like after Velisca, I never thought there was a hot minute where I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do this anymore because I believed so firmly in these protections that I had worked on and built up and done all the things for half my life that never in a minute did I think that anything would ever break through that. And when I went into Velisca, it was like a spiritual assault. Like it just took me and threw my protections to the side. And those were something that I believe in very few things.
It's found an opening.
There wasn't one. That's the problem. There was not one. And it took me anyway. And that's why that was so serious. So it was so assaulting. Like it shook me to my very core. I slept with the lights on for 5 weeks. Like I did not think that I was going to be able to do this again. So I don't know if maybe like my subconscious learned something from that or whatever, where I'm just refusing to deal with anything like that ever again. To me, at the Alley Theater, at least, like it was, I interacted with definitely some different spirits, but there was that one, I'm just not going to step into this, like in the basement. Like this is, if you want to be an elemental, but I'm not chatting with you because you already tried to trap me in the basement one.
Yeah, and intention is everything going into places like this. And sometimes you've got an energy that's been around for thousands of years and something that powerful, and we don't know that person's backstory or how many times if you believe that someone keeps coming back till they learn their lessons. We don't know how long that person had to do that as well. So some of those energies, they just learn how to basically manipulate the system, if you will. And then you think about it, they connect to them. They get so close to you that they almost are you. And what happened to you, he just got so close to you that he was able to flip himself into you. And I watched your demeanor change,
Everything.
voice changed and everything. And when I talk to people and I talk to people about the seriousness of what they're doing, even as mediums, I say, look, you want validation, you want to see what can happen, just watch, please go watch Scared and Alone and watch. It's on camera what happened to my friend Courtney Buckley.
Right.
It's all right there. It's all right there.
I truly
That's
believe
right.
that I would not have survived that situation, genuinely, if it weren't for everyone there, both on the panel and in the comments, sending me that energy, pulling me out of it. So I
Well,
think
I've
my,
texted you before to tell you that I'm always watching you because
I know.
gotta make sure that you're okay. Yes. Yes.
Alright.
For this place, I think that this place with the owners, I don't think they have too much of a worry about it. Maybe a cleansing would be good. Just, I don't know. Go downstairs in the basement. I would start there. Get rid of this thing. Or maybe a wellness check on people. That person could already be gone. And this thing is just left. But it's not, I don't think it's anything to worry about because the other spirits are telling everybody to leave it alone.
I feel like that person is gone. That person no longer is in the building,
Yeah.
but
Ignore it. Maybe if you ignore it, it'll go away kind of thing. That's what they're telling us.
Yeah,
But
it works. Alright, you guys, again, thank you so much for everything that you put into the show. It wouldn't be the same without you. I feel safer having you guys in the comments there with me, even when I don't feel safe. So you guys are the best. And I love you guys. And thank you for sharing all of this with us and sharing this piece of yourselves with us. And I think that'll give everybody who watches this a really good insight into what you guys bring to our show, which is great.
it's real, people.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.